You're watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. Here's what's coming up this hour. Get more information, special announcements, and weekly program schedules online at wishtv.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, IPS families. My name is Renisha Lee, and I'm a multi-classroom leader here in Indianapolis Public Schools. Today I'll be teaching a kindergarten lesson. It's going to be for math, yay, week 2. And we're going to start with lesson 1, day 1, all right? So the directions today are basically counting how many sides there are on a shape. So one of the things we need to kind of talk about is what is a side. So where a vertex and a vertex in between, that's going to be counted as a side. So I'm going to just kind of label my vertexes right here. I've got 1 there, 2, and 3. So a side is basically where a vertex and a vertex, that parallel line that connects those two. So we have one side here where they connect. So here's another side where they also connect, and our third side. So when you're doing this worksheet at home, you're going to make sure that you're counting all of the sides that are on that shape. So we have a triangle here, and we've already connected the 3 sides, or excuse me, each side. So now we're going to count those sides. 1, 2, 3. So when it asks you the question, how many sides, you're going to write the number 3. So that was our example for today. Next, we have a rhombus. So here I would suggest that you label the vertexes where they actually are, which are kind of, like I said, those places where 2 sides connect. And you're going to go around and you're going to count those sides with me. So let's do it. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. So how many sides are there? 4 sides. Correct. You guys are great. So now we have 4. The next one we have is a rectangle. So we have our rectangle here. So if you're following along with me, you're going to put a little dot on your corners, and you're going to count those sides where they each connect. So are you ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now that we've counted our sides, we're going to write our answer here. So let's just verify. How many sides do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 sides, and then just write your number 4 on your paper. You have a few extras examples that you're going to be doing on your own, so if you need any help, come back and see me and see the lesson once more. Perfect. So that completes part 1 of lesson 1. We're going to move on to part 2 now. Here's part 2. We're going to find out how many dots there are here just by looking at it, okay? Sometimes there's different ways that we count different amounts of objects. So today we're going to try to figure out how many they are and different ways that we can actually count and group these. All right, so we've got enough dots. Let's just count by ones because that definitely is an option. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So now that we know how many dots there are, we have 11 dots. But a lot of people count dots different ways, okay? So here's one way you could possibly count it. You could group them by numbers that are more friendly. So if it were me, I might group them by 3s because I'm really good at counting by 3s. So I know this is 3, 6, 9, and then I can just count up 10, 11. So one way you can count is you can do 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1. So there's one option. Another way that you could count these dots or you can group them by 2s. So let's try that one. So we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And then we have an odd one out. So now we can just count on. So we've got 10 and we count one more. That makes 11. You're right. So we could count them by 2. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 for 8 plus 2, that's 10 plus one more. And these will all equal 11. Let's see if there's some other ways we can count our dots. Sometimes I like to group them by 5s because I know that 5 plus 5 is 10, and that'll get me a bigger chunk of the dots out of the way. So I'm going to count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to group them like so. I'm going to see if I can get another 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's another one. And I still have that odd dot out, so we have one more. So the other way you can count those are 5 plus 5 plus 1. And that also equals 11. Stay tuned for part 3. Welcome back to part 3, day 1, week 2 for our kindergarten math lesson. So we're trying to find a way to get these two numbers to balance out the mobile to equal 10. So one of the things I wanted to try, I know some of the math facts that equal 10. So I'm going to try 7. And I like to count up. So if I'm trying to find a missing number, I'm going to pound my fist with 7, and I'm going to count up to find this missing number. So I'm going to go 7, 8, 9, 10. That would be 3. But there's a lot more on this side than there is on this side, and we want our mobile to be very balanced. So this answer wouldn't work. Let's see if you can find the right answers to keep our mobile balanced. Have a great day, guys.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Welcome back, IPS students and families. I'm Renisha Lee, and I'll be teaching you kindergarten week 2. Day 2. So we're going to dive right into today's lesson. There's 3 parts today. So the first part is using numbers 1 through 9. You're going to try to make this statement true. So let's talk about some of the things that are here. We've got a couple of boxes. Those are going to be places for your numbers. You can only use the numbers one time, so we're going to have to keep track of that. The next thing is our plus sign. So when these things are added together, they're going to equal a number, but it's not exactly going to be what's on this side necessarily, okay? We're not going to put the answer here. Both sides of the equation are going to be equal. So let's dive into the next one. So we're going to try to use a couple of numbers and see if they work. All right, so let's start with 4. So I'm going to put my 4 here, and I'm going to mark it off. Because I can only use each number one time, I would keep track of those numbers. If you can write them down and X them out, that'd be great. So I'm going to I know that 4 plus 3 is 7. All right, here we go. So I'm going to put 3 here. So I'm going to also mark off 3, okay? Now I'm going to use some bigger numbers. Let's go with 9. And then I'm going to say, in order for this to be true, I've got to do some math. So if I have 9, I'm going to try to see if I take something away, if I take some part of that number away, will I get 7? Because that's what we're looking to do. So I'm going to count backwards. So I've got 9, and I'm going to go 8, 7. So my missing number is going to be 2 in order to get 7. So that's part 1. See how many combinations you can come up with. There's tons out there for numbers 1 through 9. All right, moving on. Here's part 2. We're going to draw these 3 shapes, and we're going to see what we think comes next. So we're going to follow the pattern. So there are different types of patterns. There's A, B patterns, like strawberry, banana, strawberry, banana. So those are like A-B. They just have 2 items. Sometimes you have 3 items, so we call that an ABC pattern. So you might have strawberry, banana, kiwi. So, and it'll keep going. So now we're going to take a look at our shapes, and we're going to go through and see which shapes are going to come next. Here's our first one. So we're going to name our shapes. So let me hear you. We've got a square, circle, triangle, square, circle, triangle. What comes next? You got it, square. And that matches our pattern, right? What comes after square? Circle, you got it. Square, circle, let me hear it, triangle. You got it, guys. So now you've completed your first pattern. Let's go to the next one. So these have the same shapes, but they're twisted, right? So we've got a tall rectangle and a sideways one. A tall rectangle and a sideways one. A tall rectangle. So the next one's going to be what? A sideways one. You got it. So we're going to draw our rectangle. I'm running out of space. Sorry, guys. And then we're going to go to the next one. So the next one's going to be a tall one. You got it. So we've got our tall triangle. And our last pattern, or our last shape to complete the pattern is going to be a sideways one. You got it, a sideways rectangle. You guys are doing so well. Last one. So one of the shapes that we have is a sphere, okay? It's a 3D shape. And when you look at it from the head on, you just see this round figure, okay? It's different from like a circle because a circle is kind of flat, okay? So a sphere is going to be something you can actually hold, you can move it around. So I want you to try to find a couple of shapes in your home. So one of my favorite, because I love basketball, is a basketball. So that would be one that I would try to find around my house. See if you can find some other objects that remind you of a sphere. That's it for today's lesson. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Welcome back. We're doing kindergarten math lesson again, week 3, day 3. So we're chugging right along through the week. All right, so the first thing today is a game, which anybody who's had me knows I love a good game, okay? So if you don't have playing cards, which is how the instructions are kind of stated, you can try my makeshift way. So here are the directions. You're going to create a deck of cards, which is kind of what I did here, and you're going to have 4 ones, or those could be your aces, 4 twos, 4 threes, and 4 fours. So you're going to have all of those cards, and you're going to lay them face down, okay? Each player is going to take turns either picking up a card or removing or flipping the card over or taking off one of your Post-its like I have here, and you're going to try to see if you can get to the number 5 when you add those 2 numbers together. Let's try it. So here's a quick way you can try to play your game. So I'm going to take this one. I've got a 4. All right, and I'm going to pull this one. Oh, it's a 3, and 4 plus 3 is 7, so that wouldn't work. But I need to keep this in my mind because when I play again, I know where there's a 4 and where there's a 3. Let's just try one more. Here we go. Oh, I've got another 4 and a 1. So that would be one I get to keep, because those 2 numbers, 4 plus 1, equal 5. So that's part 1 for today. Part 2, you're going to be coloring the pictures on your packet that actually remind you of a sphere, that are actually the shape of a sphere. So I have some non-examples. I have a cylinder. It's kind of flat on the 2 insides, so that's not quite a sphere. I've got my cubie, my giant cubie, and it's not a sphere. It's not round on all sides, so that wouldn't work. So then we have our clock. And it's just round and it's flat, so that wouldn't work either. So when you're looking in your packet today, you're going to be trying to find things that definitely remind you of a sphere. Remember, a sphere is something you can hold and move around, and it's round on all sides. So keep that in mind when you're looking at your packet. All right, part 3. So we're going to say which one doesn't belong. So in your packet, you have an example of bananas. So you've got 4 different bananas, but I'm going to just kind of show you my little version because I can't draw bananas. So we've got 4 squares here, and they all have an array of dots, okay? So now we have, here's a square that has 4 dots, this one has 3, and then here's 2. So there's different reasons why these things would not belong, okay? So the first reason that jumps out to me would be, these are green. Everything else is blue, so those wouldn't belong. Looking at the other ones, let's see. Right here, these aren't in a straight line. Everything else is going in a linear way. It's going in a straight way. So that one wouldn't belong in this example. So when you're doing your packet with your bananas, really think outside the box to see, why don't these bananas belong? Or if there are different ways to which these bananas wouldn't belong in that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Bye.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Welcome back. I'm Miss Lee. I'm here to teach you kindergarten math. We're still working on week 2, but today is day number 4. All right, so let's dive right in. On part 1, you have in your packet Mr. Squirrel, and he's looking for a nutty treat. And so we're trying to figure out some ways that we can figure out how many nuts he has. So let's start with a couple of examples. So I used my little magnetic dots up here, even though you have your nuts on your worksheet. So we're going to take these, and I like to do the method counting on. That's one of my favorite ways to add and subtract. So I have 3, so I know that these are 3 green ones. I'm going to go 3. I'm going to add 2 more, so 4, 5. So how many nuts in all does Mr. Squirrel have? You're right, he has 5. Good job, guys. Next one, we have 1 plus 2 more. So I can either start with my 2 and go 2, and then 1 more makes 3. You got it. Now down here on our last one, we're still working on this side. So the last one, there's 4 in all. So 1, 2, 3, 4. But I have to take 1 away. So when I do that, I go 4. And I count backwards and go 3. So 3 is going to be my answer when I take 1 away from 4. That's part 1. Let's keep going. Part 2, you have 3 different pictures of a different object, a different shape pattern, and each of them represents a stage. So the first stage is we have a square and a triangle. Next we have 2 squares and a triangle. In stage 3 we have, you got it, 3 squares and a triangle. So now on your own, you're going to have to decide, following that same pattern, on how to get to stage 4. What will this pattern look like? So you're going to have to draw that pattern here as well and make sure that you have that object listed. Good luck. Moving on. Now we have some math problems. This is kind of like a secret code kind of math problem. So I've got some dots up here that represent some of the characters in your worksheet, on your worksheet. So the green ones represent, I think it's a dinosaur or frog. Oh, it's got like a cool dinosaur with sunglasses. So this is him with the shades. Then we've got our raccoon. Then we've got our blue dots that represent the dinosaur with no shades. And then we've got our dinosaur without the shades as well in blue. All right, so let's dive in. So you're going to have to decide what these pictures represent. How much is each picture worth? So we've got the 2 dinosaurs with their cool glasses on. And since they're the same, we know both of those numbers have to be the same. But I don't know what plus what equals 4? Does 3 plus 1 equal 4? It does, but those 2 numbers aren't the same. 0 and 4? Still, yeah, it equals 4, but they're not the same. I know. My teacher taught me 2 and 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So I think that this dinosaur with the cool shades, he's going to be 2. So I'm going to put my number 2 here. Now when I try that, I've got 2 plus 2. Is that 4? 2, 3, 4? It is. So that works. Let's do one more, and then I'm going to send you off to do your own thing. All right, so we've got our little raccoon here, and then we've got another dinosaur. One of the tricks of this game is now we know what something is worth that we're working with. So we know our dinosaur with the cool shades, he's worth 2. So I'm going to put a 2 here, but I don't know what our raccoon is worth. But since I know I'm trying to get to 5, I'm gonna pound my fist and I'm gonna count up until I get to 5. So I'm gonna go 2, and I wanna hear you say it, 3, 4, 5. So that means our raccoon is gonna be worth how many? 3, you got it. So our raccoon is worth 3. Now let's do one more. So now that we know what our raccoon is worth, we can fill in that one. So we know that our raccoon is worth 3. A little bit of space, is 3. But I know this number, I have to get all the way up to 8, and that's a big ways. So I'm gonna pound my 3 and I'm gonna count up to 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we know that our dinosaur without the cool shades, he's gonna be worth 5. And 5 plus 3 does equal 8, so I know that that's worth 5. Now on your own, you've got to figure out how much does our dinosaur without the cool shades and our dinosaur with the cool shades, how much does that equal? Let me know what you get. This is Miss Lee signing off. Have a great day.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Welcome back, IPS families. My name is Miss Lee and I'll be teaching you week 2, day number 5. We made it all the way to the end of the week. So let's dive right on in. In part 1, they want you to make a math equation that represents how many wheels you see in all. So each tricycle has how many wheels? Let's count. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So each one has 3. So we're going to write our 3 in the box. Let's see if you can come up with the answer for that one, guys. Part number 2, you're going to count these bike wheels and you're going to count by 2s to see if you can get all the way through the end of this pattern. So each bicycle has 2. So we're going to be counting by 2s. We're going to do some skip counting today. I'm not going to do it all. So here we go. We've got 2, 4. If we add 2 more to 4, that's 5, 6. So our missing number here is going to be 6. Write that in. So now we've got 6, and we know that the bike always has 2 wheels, so we're going to add 2 more. So we've got 6, 7, 8. So our next missing number is 8. That was a little tricky. Now, we want to make sure we've got the right number. So if we count up to 2 and we get 10 as our answer, we know we're on the right track. So let's take 8. We're going to count up 2 more, 9, 10. Woo! You got it. See if you can finish the rest of the pattern on your own. Now to part 3. This one has an array. You have some cute little gummy bears, and I don't have those. So in part 3, they're going to ask you, what is the same about these 2 pictures and what's different? So some of the things that we can talk about are colors, the amount of things, how or where they're placed. So those are some of the things you're going to be looking at. So one of the things I wanted to point out is on this one, what's the same about both of them is that they both have 5 dots. And you probably have 5 bears, so that's something that's the same. But something that's different might be this one only has 1 green and this one has 4. Let's see how many more you can come up with, guys. Thanks for tuning in, week 2. Day number 5. I appreciate you guys. Have a great day. Stay safe. Miss you.
Hi, I'm Alicia Johnson. Unfortunately, many families don't have access to the educational resources available online, and the digital divide has become more apparent as thousands of students are now learning from home. Thanks to our partnership with Circle City Broadcasting, IPS students and families have access to daily educational instruction. Join IPS teachers weekdays from 8 to 10 a.m. on MyINDY-TV. For the schedule, visit wishtv.com/IPS.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Okay, try it now.
Yeah, that's IPS.
Look around. Listen. We're moving to a new beat. A colorful symphony, each note made more beautiful by the next. We are driven by talent in the classroom, in each school that recognizes the potential in every student and knows the opportunity to achieve is not an option, it's expected. We are not alone. We stand among giants, eager to help, eager to give back and build bonds to last generations. We are part of a city fueled by grit, strength, and determination. Racing toward a future full of potential where hard work really does pay off. When one succeeds, we all succeed. We're innovative. We're industrious. We're imaginative. We are your Indianapolis Public Schools, and we're stronger together.
For as long as we've existed, Boys and Girls Clubs has always been about coming together to support the families of our communities and do whatever it takes to give every kid a chance at a great future. But we're going through a challenging time right now. And while we may not all be able to come together in the same physical ways, in other ways, we're coming together like never before. Because that's what whatever it takes to build great futures means. It means providing a safe place to go for children whose parents are on the front lines battling the virus. It means providing millions of meals for kids who previously relied on their school or a meal program, which are now shut down. And it's about harnessing the power of technology to keep kids moving forward with their education. So yeah, whatever it takes to build great futures may mean something different right now. But whatever it is, that's exactly what we're going to keep doing.
I think I need to call in sick.
Why? What's wrong?
My throat is sore, dizzy, runny nose.
It sounds like nasopharyngitis.
More than a dozen surprisingly specialized education models to choose from. Explore them all online. Yeah, that's IPS.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, first graders. This is Miss Gordon, and I will be teaching you for week 3 math, first grade, and we are going to start with day 1. At the top of your day 1, you'll see shapes and stories. And so I just wanted us to take a look really quick and acknowledge that these are 2D shapes. And so with 2D shapes, we know that they're flat. We know that 2D shapes have sides and corners. So you can see that Miss Gordon has showed a model of how we're going to label sides and corners. So I just want you to take a quick minute to go through and maybe label your sides and label your corners of your shapes. So I'm going to do that, and then we will get back to work. So when I'm labeling the sides, I just want you to take your pencil, and I just want you to put a tick on each of the sides. So then we know by looking at this rectangle that I have 4 sides. So go through and put your ticks on the sides of each shape. Okay, good. So you should have already put your ticks on the sides. Now I want you to take your pencil, and we are going to label our corners. And so when Miss Gordon labels a corner, she takes her pencil and she puts a dot at the corner where the 2 sides meet. Remember, we can call this a vertice or a corner. So go ahead and take time to put your dots on your corners. Okay, good. Now we have our sides and our corners labeled. So now when I read the riddles, we'll be able to look at our shapes and identify perhaps which shape it's talking about. So the riddle is, I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to see if you can identify which shape it is. And I'm going to give you time to write after each riddle. So we're going to start at our first box, and it says, my shape has 4 corners and 4 equal sides. My shape is not a square. So looking at your shapes, I want you to think about which shape that would be, and then write it where it says, can you guess my shape? It is a... The next box says, my shape has 3 sides. My shape has 3 corners. Each of its sides is a different length. So that's when you're going to look. So 3 sides, 3 corners, and each side is a different length. So which one do you think that is? Go ahead and take a guess. And after you identify which one it is, I want you to mark it out and then write it on the line. On the bottom row of the square, we have my shape does not have 4 corners. my shape does not have 3 sides, and my shape has no straight lines. Which shape do you think that would be? The key there, I think, would be that it doesn't have any straight lines. Straight sides. Sorry, I wrote that wrong. Straight sides. And the last riddle is my shape has more than 3 sides. My shape has more than 4 sides. My shape has 6 corners. Which shape do you think that is? And then I would like you to write that on that line. Now let's go and check our answers. So for the first riddle, my shape has 4 corners. So I'm going to go look at my 4 corners. So I have a couple shapes that definitely have 4 corners, right? Okay, good. And then it says it has 4 equal sides. So, but then it says it's not a square. So we know it can't be this square, but what is another shape that has equal sides, 4 corners, and is not a square? Could it be the rectangle? No, because these sides are not equal. So your first shape is a rhombus. So you should have said that your shape is a rhombus. The next one says my shape has 3 sides, 3 corners. So I know it's a triangle right away, right? So we have the scalene triangle and we have the equilateral triangle. But then it says that each of its sides are different lengths. So then when I look at an equilateral triangle, I know that it's called an equilateral triangle because why? Because all the sides are equal. So that means each of the sides are the same length. But if I look at a scalene triangle, I notice that these sides are not the same length. So your second riddle should have been a scalene triangle. Remember, scalene triangles have sides that are not the same length, but they'd still have 3 sides and 3 corners. The next riddle says that my shape does not have 4 corners. So automatically you should think, take away the shapes that do have 4 corners. So we know this won't work, that won't work, the trapezoid will not work. And then it says, but it does not have 3 sides. And then it says it has no straight lines. So which shape do you think that one is? It is a circle. Why is it a circle? Because circles have no straight sides. Circle is a continuous line with no corners. The last riddle is my shape has more than 3 sides. My shape has more than 4 sides. My shape has 6 corners. Which of these shapes has the most sides? You should have said a hexagon. And how many corners does a hexagon have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if it has 6 corners, I wonder how many sides it has. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So your last riddle is a hexagon. And remember, when we're identifying shapes, we just look for corners and sides of 2D shapes. And great job on your riddles today. Okay, first graders, so next I would like if you could move on to your the next page of your packet where it says window sum. And I want you to take a moment and write the digits 0 through 9 at the top of your page. So you can tell I already have my digits labeled on Post-it notes, so take a moment and write 0 through 9 at the top. After you've wrote your digits, I want us to think through. We have to use each of these digits only once, no more than once. And we have to complete the puzzle so that the sum on each side is equal. So the sum of each side is equivalent. So that means I can tell that this shape is a square. So I need each side of this shape to have the same sum. So I want us to think about how we could use these numbers to make the same sum. Okay, so the window sum is kind of tricky, right? You're thinking, how am I supposed to use these numbers and make equal sums on each side? So I just want to give you a little bit of a hint. So what I did is I just started with 2 friends of 10. So I know that 7 plus 3 gives me 10. So then I thought, okay, if I have 7 plus 3 gives me 10, and then I'm going to put the 1 here and get 11. And I'm thinking that I could probably get 11 on each side if I find the missing parts that go with 6 and 0 and 3 and 1. So I'm trying to think, what is 6's friend of 10? If I have 6, how many more do I need to get 10? Take a moment, try to think about the number that would go here. 6 and 4 give you 10, plus 1 give you 11. So each of your sums are 11 and 11 so far. So 7 plus 3 plus 1, 4 plus 6 plus 1, 11. Now I have these two last parts, but I still have 4 numbers to use. I have 3 and 0. How much more do I need to get to 11? If I have 3, how many more do I need to get to 11? I want you to count on. And then when you count on from 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And how many more did you need? 8. So now the last number, so go ahead and write 8 in that square. And so the last number, we have 0 plus blank plus 6. So I have 6 and 0, that gives me 6. How much do I need with 6 to get to 11? So that's your doubles plus 1. So if I know that 5 plus 5 is 10, 5 plus 6 is 11. So let's go ahead and take the 5. Let's move it in the last spot. And we have completed our windows sums and found that each side is equal because each side equals 11. Tricky stuff, first graders, but you are so smart and keep working hard.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Okay, first graders, so at the top of day 2, you'll see that you guys have 2 word problems that are about penguins. But I want to just show you 2 other examples with birds. And so you will be able to watch Miss Gordon solve hers, and then you'll be able to look at your penguins and solve in a very similar way. So the first one, you'll see that there are penguins sitting on top of ice, and there are penguins swimming below the ice. So I have some birds, and I have birds flying above the tree, and then I have some cardinals that are flying below the tree. And so just looking at this picture representation, what can I identify about the picture? I know that there are blackbirds and redbirds. How many blackbirds are there? Take a moment, try to see if you can find it. Group of 4, 4. I know that 4 plus 4 is 8. Okay, so I have 8 blackbirds. And then how many redbirds do I see? So I want to know about how many birds are flying all together. If these redbirds came and joined the blackbirds, how many would we have? So then we have 8 plus, how many redbirds do you see? 3 plus 3, 6. So 8 plus 6. And how many does that give us all together? 8 plus 6 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 8 plus 6 is 14. Now I want you to take a moment and go look at your penguin example on your page. And how many penguin are sitting on top of the ice? How many penguin are swimming below? They want to know how many penguin there are in all. So go ahead and write your number sentence for the penguins on your first section of day 2. Okay, so then if we go on to the next word problem, you'll see that there are penguin that are sitting on top of the ice again. But then again, I'm not going to solve that problem for you. I'm going to solve another bird problem. So I have these birds and they are flying above the clouds. How many birds are flying above the clouds? I have 4 and 4, so I have 8. Huh, that's interesting because there was 8 above the trees too. So I have 8 birds that are flying above the clouds. But then it says that some more are flying to join. So the key word there is some more. How many more came to join? Do we know? No, we just know that some came. So I know that that's when I use my question mark, that's my label. So I know that I have some more that are coming, but we don't know how many are coming. But we don't know how many more, so that's why we had to put our question mark here for some more. So I know that there are birds that are coming, so I labeled it with a question mark because I don't know how many more came. But I do know that now there are 12 birds. So I know that in the end, 12 birds are here. How many birds came and joined? This is where you have a missing part. You need to start with what you know. So we have 8, and I want you to think how many more do we need to get to 12. So I'm going to draw them to identify how many more. So I have 8, and I can go ahead and say, okay, 9, 10, 11, 12. So then I know that my missing part is 4. 8 plus 4 equals 12. So now I want you to look at your penguins. There are 10 penguins on the ice. Somehow, some more friends come and join, and then there ends up being 13 penguins. So how many penguin came and joined? I want you to count on to identify how many more penguin came, just as we just did for the birds. So go ahead and count on. and solve those 2 word problems. Okay, first graders, let's go on to the next part of our day 2. So you'll see the domino sums. I want you to take a moment. What do you notice about the dominoes? I want you to label the dominoes with the total of dots on each domino. So if I looked at my first one, how many dots are on there? I want you to take a moment and write the sum below each domino. Okay, so you should have labeled your dominoes with 10 dots on the first one, 12 on the second, 9 on the third, 11 on the fourth, and 8 on the last domino. And now I want us to think about how can we place these dominoes so I have the same sum on each side. So remember, we're trying to still find the same sum. So how many add-ins are there for each one? There's 1, 2, 3. So 3 parts on each side. There's one domino that we will not use. So I want you to think about, if I give you the first domino, I want you to think what could be the next one that goes with it. So I'm not going to solve it all with you, but I am going to tell you one side. So if I have 5 plus 5, I'm going to take another domino. So this one has already been used, so my 10 has already been used. So now I need to take another domino, and I'm going to place it here. The domino that I choose to place there is going to be 9. So I'm going to have the 3 right here of the 9 and 6. And so the 9 is also already used. Your hint is that each side needs to equal 13. So if your sum is 13 for this side, and I've given you your next part, you need to go identify what this domino is and what that domino is for each of these sides to be 13. So you're going to have to play around with the dominoes and place them here. Your next one to solve is 3 plus 6 is 9. How many more do you need to get to 13? And then you'll get your last 2 dominoes filled in, okay? So 3 add-ins, 13 total on each side. All right, first grade scholars, let's go on to the next section of day 2. This is the last part of day 2 where it says number talks. And this is just where we just want to talk about what we see. And so this is, and we've been doing this each week now, right? So I want us to remember how we're doing this. When we're counting, do we see groups of, do we count, are we skip counting by a certain number? Do I see a specific amount in each set? Do I look at colors? Do I see a row? How many do I count? And what did you count by? So I just want you to think about different ways that you could count this. You could do purple plus blue. You could say, okay, I see 2. Ooh, I see a group of 5. So I just want you to take a minute and just think out loud. What do you see? How did you count those? There's no specific right answer. I just want you to tell me how you would count them, how many dots you found total, and just talk out loud with someone at your house. So you might say, I see 3 blue. How many purple do you see? So just have that number talk with someone who is at your house right now, or you can just think out loud for yourself, and then you'll be able to share with your teacher and your classmates this week. So this is just your number talk, okay? So go ahead and take time, look at your purple and blue dots, and have a little chat.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
All right, first grade scholars, I want you to move on to day 3 in your week 3 section of your packet. And you'll see that you have addition facts that you are going to solve on your own. So I want you to think about those fact families that we've been working on, your quick facts, and I would like you to solve those addition facts on your own. Then you'll move on and you'll talk about the hearts, and you'll talk about how those relate and how they don't relate and which one doesn't belong. But remember, there's various answers for that question. So I just want you to take time and work through the addition facts on your own, and then have the discussion about the hearts with the partner at your house. The last part of day 3 is where you will see 2 tens frames. And you'll read the questions, what is the same and what is different? So as I look at these tens frames, what do we notice? I know that these are tens frames. I see yellow dots and red dots inside the tens frames. But what do I notice that's the same? What do I notice that is different? So I want you to take a moment and you are going to draw a short chart just like we have been doing the past 2 weeks. We're going to talk about the things that are the same and different. I would like you to get your piece of paper, and remember you're just going to use a check for the things that are the same and an X for the things that are different. So get your chart ready and then we will take a little note together. Okay, so once you have your T-chart ready, let's think about what is something that is the same. So what is something that is the same? I noticed that they each have 3 red dots. So for the same, I could say 3 red dots. And then what is something else that is the same? Now you write that on your own. Is there something that's different? I would like you to take a moment and write something that is different. You're going to work through the rest on your own, so thinking about what's the same and what is different. Maybe there's 2 yellow dots. Maybe there's 5 dots altogether. So then I want you to think about what's different. There's 4 on the top row over here, 3 on the bottom row over here. So just thinking out loud, and you can just talk with your sister or brother or aunt, and you don't have to write it down, but I just want you to think through it. Good job.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
The first part of day 4 are subtraction facts that I would like you to solve on your own as well. Remember, when you're working with subtraction, you are taking away. So if I read the first one, it says 9 minus 8. So I would like you to use your drawings, draw out your model, and take away and find out the difference between those subtraction facts. On your own, you can do it. All right, I'm super proud of you, and I know it's so hard to work on your own at home, but just know that I'm proud of you, and just keep up all the great work. And let's move on to the last part of our day 4. So at the top of day 4, it says ways to make 10. And we have to come up with 10 ways to make 10. But guess what? They've already given you 2 ways. So I wrote those ways down. So they said, okay, well, I know that 5 plus 5 equals 10. They also used subtraction, and they said that we know 12 minus 2 is 10. When I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking about those friends of 10. What are those 2 parts that we know consistently give me 10? And we can think about our fact families as well. Remember, you could have a 3. What plus 3 gives you 10? 7. So you have to come up with 10 ways to make 10. So think about your friends of 10. Could you do some subtracting like they did 12 minus 2? What part did they take away? They took away the 1s. So think about that and try to get as many ways to make 10 as you can. How many friends can you think of? What if I give you 6? What is the friend with 6? How many different ways can you make 10? Remember, you can use 0, 1. So take your time, and I would like you to write down the ways to make 10 on your paper. Good job. All right, guys, so good work today. Let's solve the last problem on day 4. It says, would you rather? What do you notice in the picture? In the picture, we see that there are some quarters and $2 bills. And the question that they're asking is, would you rather have 8 quarters or $2? Why would they ask us that, right? Is that the same amount of money? I'm trying to think. What do I know about quarters? I know that they're worth 25 cents. I know that $1, how many quarters is in a dollar? 4. So how many dollars do we have with the quarters right now? I want you to go circle a group of 4 of your quarters. So we have one group of 4, and there I know is $1. So I'm going to label that with my $. How many more quarters do I have? I have 4. So how many dollars do I have all together with my quarters? I have $2 altogether. Oh, so you're telling me that $2 is the same as 8 quarters? Yes, but which one would you rather have? Would you rather have $2 or 8 quarters? There are really a lot of reasons why you would want to have either the dollars or the quarters. It depends on what you want to buy. I want you to think, how many things could you buy with the 8 quarters? How many things could you buy with the $2 bills? What if something only costs 25 cents? Do you want to break $1, use the dollar and then get change? Or would you just want to use, if you took the 8 quarters, would you just want to use a quarter to spend for the 25-cent sucker at the store? So there are many different answers to this, but I just want you to think, which one would you rather have? $2 or 8 quarters? I'm super proud of you today, and take care, and I'll see you guys next week. And work hard and stay safe and go play outside.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, friends. My name is Mrs. Coleman, and I've been a special education teacher for 16 years in Binghamton, New York, but now I work full-time for Great Minds. I'm so glad you decided to join me for fluency today. We're going to start by practicing with our pennies and dimes, as we have been the last couple days. Can you tell me how much a penny is worth? Did you say 1 cent? How much is a dime worth? I hope you said 10 cents. We're going to start. I'm going to pull the coins down, and you're going to count with me by the value of each coin. So let's say a dime is 10 cents, 20 cents. Now that we have 20 cents, let's change 1 dime for pennies. How many pennies are equal to 1 dime? Did you say 10 pennies? If a dime is equal to 10 cents and a penny is equal to 1 cent, 10 pennies equal 10 cents, which equals 1 dime. Let's exchange 1 dime for 10 pennies. We're going to get rid of our dime because we have 10 pennies now. Now we have 20 cents, just like we had before. Let's count backwards from 20 cents. 20 cents, 19 cents, 18 cents, 17 cents, 16 cents, 15 cents, 14 cents, 13 cents, 12 cents, 11 cents, 10 cents. If we wanted to exchange our dime that's equal to 10 cents for pennies, how many pennies would we need? Did you say 10 pennies? Let's get 10 pennies. $10 pennies equal 1 dime. So we're going to get rid of our dime. Now let's count backwards from 10 cents. 10 cents, 9 cents, 8 cents, 7 cents, 6 cents, 5 cents, 4 cents, 3 cents, 2 cents, 1 cent, 0 cents. Great job. Now that we've finished counting our pennies and dimes, we're going to move on to practicing something you did with Miss Lassiter in today's lesson. I'm going to switch over to an online Reckon Rack. You can use this too to practice. We're going to practice 10 more than a number. So if we start with 5, what number is 10 more than 5? Did you say 15? When we add 10 to our 5, we see 15 altogether. We can say that the say 10 way as 10, 5. We also can say it as a number sentence. Let's say the addition sentence that begins with 5. So I'm going to say it and then you repeat it. So the addition sentence beginning with 5 is 5 plus 10 equals 15. You say it with me. 5 plus 10 equals 15. Now let's say the addition sentence that starts with 10. Say it with me. 10 plus 5 equals 15. Let's practice this with another number. What if I take these away and we start with, how many do you see? 3. Now we have 3. Let's think, what is 10 more than 3? Here's 10 more. Did you say 10 more than 3 is 13? Now I have 10, 3. If I say it the say 10 way. You say it the say 10 way. 10, 3 is 13. Let's say the addition sentence that starts with 3. 3 plus 10 equals 13. Now let's say the addition sentence that begins with 10. 10 plus 3 equals 13. I think you're ready to try some without the Reck and Rec. You can always picture it in your head if you feel like you're getting stuck. We're going to switch back to my document camera where I have a whiteboard set up to help us. The next number we're going to do is 4. So if we start with 4, 10 more than 4 is, did you say 14? Let's say 14 the say 10 way. 10, 4. Now let's say the addition sentence that starts with 4. Go ahead, you say it first. Did you say 4 plus 10 equals 14? And let's say the addition sentence that starts with 10. You go first. 10 plus 4 equals 14. Okay, let's get ready for the next one. Our next number is 8. 10 more than 8 is what number? Did you say 18? Let's say 18 the say 10 way. You first. 10, 8. Now tell me the addition sentence that starts with 8. Did you say 8 plus 10 equals 18? Now say the addition sentence that starts with 10. Did you say 10 plus 8 equals 18? Okay, we're going to do one more. The last one for the day is 6. 10 more than 6 is what number? 16. Say 16 the say 10 way. 10, 6. Now tell me the addition sentence for 16 that starts with 6. 6 plus 10 equals 16. Now tell me the addition sentence that starts with 10. 10 plus 6 equals 16. Thanks for all your hard work and practice today in fluency. Be sure to tell your teacher that you've been practicing with me. And get ready for Mr. Royke with the application problem. Remember, just hit pause if you need to take a break. And then hit play when you're ready. He'll be there waiting for you.
I think I need to call in sick.
Why? What's wrong?
My throat is sore, dizzy, runny nose.
It sounds like nasopharyngitis.
More than a dozen surprisingly specialized education models to choose from. Explore them all online. Yeah, that's IPS.
What's going on?
I don't know.
Okay, try it now.
Yeah, that's IPS.
You're watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. Here's what's coming up this hour. Get more information, special announcements, and weekly program schedules online at wishtv.com. And be sure to follow us on Facebook. Here's what's coming up next.
My name is Courtney Ryan, and I'm a second grade teacher at William Penn Elementary School. And today I'm going to be helping you all with week 4, lessons 1 through 5. So let's go ahead and get started. Our first activity for day 1 is sum to 1,000. The goal of this activity is to create 2 3-digit numbers that when added together are as close to 1,000 as possible. And so I recommend cutting out strips of paper with numbers on them, or using index cards or sticky notes to kind of play around with the numbers before you actually write them on your paper. So as I'm going through to create my 3-digit numbers, I want to think about place value and what number I should put in the hundreds place. Let's see, I know that if I put my smaller numbers in the hundreds place, I won't get close to 1,000 as I need to be. So I'll choose a larger number. Let's go ahead with 400. Let's make 415. And then on the other side, we'll do 326. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding my numbers in the ones place. So I have 5 plus 6, which gives me 11. I'm going to add the numbers in my tens place. So 2 plus 1 give me 3. And then I'll add the numbers in my hundreds place. So 300 plus 400 equals 700. And I want to make note that if I'm adding the numbers in the tens place, this 1 represents a 10 and the 2 represents a 20. So the answer that goes here is actually 30. Then I'm going to add those numbers together to solve. So 700 plus 30 plus 11 is 741. So I didn't get too close to 1,000. I'm sure you all can get really closer. So go ahead and try, move the numbers around, and see how close to 1,000 you can get. So the next activity on day 1 is a counting activity. On your paper, they give you a picture of balloons, and so your job is to count them. I want you all to think about ways that you can count these objects. So will you count by ones? Will you skip count? Will you group the objects by color or by size? For instance, if you wanted to count the red balloons first, you could count the red balloons, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So I think a good adding strategy would be to find groups of 10 or add 2 color groups that equal 10. You also can look at the picture a different way and count the strings to find how many objects are there. Go ahead and try that one out. The third activity for day 1 is a money problem activity.
So the first part of the activity asks us to count a collection of coins and write them two ways. When you have a money amount less than $1, you can write that amount with a cent sign or a dollar sign. So let's go ahead and go through, count our collection of coins, and then write that in two different ways. So my first coin is a quarter, so I'm going to go ahead and label that the value of a quarter is 25 cents. I'm going to use skip counting to count my coins, and so I'm going to add a dime. 25 plus 10 equals 35 cents. I'm going to add another dime, which will bring me to 45 cents. Now I need to skip count by 5 because I'm at my nickels. So 45 plus an additional nickel is 50 cents. Another nickel would make 55 cents. And if I add 1 penny, I have 56 cents. So let's write that two ways. The first way is to write our amount with a cent sign. So we're going to write the amount and our cent sign afterwards. When we write in dollar amounts, we start with the dollar sign, and then we're going to make a 0 for our dollar amount. Since our amount is less than $1, we don't have any dollars, so we put 0. And then you add your 56 cents at the end. Okay. The second part of that activity asks you to list the name of the coins, to write that amount two ways, and to write it in a different way. So I've chosen a $50 for an example for you all. So I'm going to write the coin name at the top. And I'm going to write it two ways, just as we did above. So my cents looks like that, and my dollars, 50 cents. Okay. And then the last section, draw it a different way, just asks us to use different collections of coins to represent 50 cents or the $50. So I'm going to use 1 quarter, it's 25 cents, 2 dimes, which brings us to 45 cents, and then 1 nickel to equal 50 cents. That is the end of our lessons for day 1. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you all soon.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hello again. Welcome to day 2. Our first activity for day 2 is a pyramid puzzle. The goal of this puzzle is that each number has to be the sum of the two numbers below it. So our goal is to fill in the entire puzzle. I'm going to go ahead and do this one as an example for you. So I'm looking at 17, and I know that these two numbers, when added together, have to equal 17. In order for me to figure out what number added to 2 equals 17, I need to subtract. So I'm going to come up here and do 17 minus 2. I start in the ones place. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 0 is 1. So 15 is the number that goes in this first box. I can then come over and look at the 10, and I know that these two numbers have to equal 10. So what number plus 2 equals 10? Again, we can subtract to find the answer. So 10 minus 2, I'm going to do a little bit of regrouping. So I'm going to come over and borrow from my 10s. So 10 minus 2 is 8. So I know that 8 goes here. Now, I don't have enough information in these two boxes to complete this, so I'm going to go over to this side of the pyramid. Now, I can add together 17 and 10 to find the sum of this number. So 17 plus 10 equals 27. So I'm going to write that here. And now I have to figure out what number added to 27 equals 50. Again, I can subtract to find that answer. So 50 minus 27. Again, I'm going to have to regroup. So I'm going to borrow from the tens place. I'm left with 4 tens. Carry that 10 over to the ones place. 10 minus 7 is 3. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So I know that 23 goes here. Now I can come back and look at 10 and this unknown number. We have to figure out what number plus 10 equals 23. So we're going to subtract 23 minus 10. And this is easy subtraction, no regrouping necessary. So 3 minus 0 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. So 13 goes here. And then we can do the same thing for the last two, or the last one. We need to figure out what number added to 8 equals 13. So we're going to subtract to find that as well. 13 minus 8. I'm going to borrow from my tens place. So 13 minus 8 equals 5. Got it? That was pretty fun, guys. Take a stab at it. It should be really fun. Now let's move on to our next activity of making change. So our directions say that they want you to make 47 cents using exactly 6 coins. So the first thing we need to know is the value of each coin. A quarter is worth 25 cents. A dime is worth 10 cents. A nickel is worth 5 cents, and a penny is worth 1 cent. So I want you all to just play with coins and figure out what collection of coins we need to use to make 47 cents. I'm gonna try it out. Let's see. I know I can use a quarter. Let's write my amount here. I know I can use a quarter, so I'll put that there. I'll use a dime. So I'm at 25, 35 cents. I'll use another dime. That'll bring me to 45 cents. And then I just need 2 pennies to get to 47 cents. Now I need to count my coins and see if I used exactly 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh man, I messed up. So I want you all to keep playing around with your coins until you can come up with the collection that equals 47 cents. Our next activity is a telling time activity. Before we look at that, I want to go over some features of a clock. So when we look at an analog clock, we're looking at the face of a clock, and we have to pay close attention to the hour hand, or the shorter hand, and the minute hand, or the longer hand. The hour hand tells us what hour it is, and that is represented by the numbers we see on the clock. The minute hand gets a little bit tricky. When we look at the minute hand, if it's on the 12, it's 00, or as we say, o'clock. From there, we have to count in 5-minute increments to represent each number. So if my minute hand is on the 3, it's actually 7:15. I also want to bring attention to these little notches in between each number. These are 1-minute increments. So if we are at 7:01, the next notch, or I'm sorry, 7:05, the next notch is 7:06, 7:07, 7:08, 7:09, and then we get to 2, which is 7:10. So with that knowledge, I want you all to go ahead and complete the first part of the telling time activity, which asks you to fill in the bubbles next to the correct time. For the second part of that lesson, you are asked to draw the hands on the clock to represent the time that is shown. So remember that When our hour hand is in between two numbers, let's say our hour hand was in between the 7 and the 8. It's not 8 o'clock yet. We're still in the 7 o'clock hour. That hand getting closer to the 8 just lets me know that it's closer to 8 o'clock. So don't let that trip you up as you're working on this. That's all for day 2. We love you and we miss you and we hope to see you again soon.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hello families, welcome to day 3. We're gonna go ahead and jump right in and get started. On day 3, our first activity asks us to analyze data from a chart. And so I wanna imagine that I have a bakery and I need to list how many cakes have been baked through the course of a week. And so I have my days of the week here and I have the number of cakes I've baked each day. So in your home learning packet, they're gonna ask you what day was the most amount of cakes baked and what day was the least amount of cakes baked. So you want to pay close attention to the numbers. Afterwards, they ask you to order those numbers from least to greatest. And so we're going to do that with the numbers I have here. So when thinking about ordering numbers from least to greatest, I need to think about place value. If I'm looking for the smallest number, I need to find the number that has the smallest hundredths number in the hundredths place. So I have 450 and 444. My other numbers are 500s, so I'm not going to use those yet. So I need to look at 450 and 444 to determine which one goes first. Since both of my numbers have a 4 in the hundredths place, I need to then go to the tens place to decide. I have a 5 in the tens place here and a 4 in the tens place here. 4 is smaller than 5, so that is the first number in my set. 450 goes second. Now I need to look at my 3 numbers that I have left. They all have 5 in the hundredths place, so that won't help me determine what goes next. So I need to look in the tens place. I have a 5, a 4, and a 4. Well, I'm ordering my numbers from least to greatest, so I'm looking for the lowest number in the tens place. So I know 555 isn't going to be used yet. I need to decide between 540 and 545. Because they have like numbers in the hundreds and tens place, we then go to the ones place to determine which one goes next. I have a 0 in the ones place here and a 5 in the ones place here. And so since 0 is smaller, this is my next number in my set. Then I can go ahead and bring 545 down, and my greatest number is 555. So go ahead and try that out in your home learning packet. The next activity in your home learning packet is an activity called Which One Doesn't Belong. So here you're giving a picture of 4 objects and it's your job to determine which one doesn't belong. This is a problem I think we can have a lot of fun with because there's not one correct answer. For instance, I could look at this heart and say that that heart doesn't belong because it has polka dots, whereas the other hearts have stripes, okay? Another person can come up and say that this heart doesn't belong because it's smaller than the 3 other hearts. So I think as long as you can explain your reasoning with mathematics, there are a number of answers for these types of problems. So go ahead and have a lot of fun with this one. Our next activity is a visual pattern. And so on your home learning packet, you're giving a visual pattern in 3 stages. And so I've made an example for you up here, similar to the one in your home learning packet. So our job is to look at stage 1 and then compare it to stage 2 and see how this pattern is changing. I always tell my kiddos in second grade that if we're looking at visual or number patterns, the first thing we need to think about is if that pattern is growing or shrinking. And since I have an additional object in stage 2, that lets me know that my pattern is growing. That helps me when I have to draw my own pattern on stage 4. So in stage 1, I have 1 green heart and 2 purple hearts below it. In stage 2, I've added another green heart. On stage 3, I've changed the pattern again by adding 2 additional purple hearts. So your job is to think about, what will stage 4's pattern look like? So I'm going to go ahead and draw. So as you can see in stage 4, I have added an additional green heart. So our pattern is increasing by 1 green heart and then 2 purple hearts each time. So in your home learning packet, make sure you're paying close attention to whether your pattern is growing or shrinking and how it is changing. That is the end of the lessons for day 3. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you soon.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hello again. Welcome to day 2. Our first activity for day 2 is a pyramid puzzle. The goal of this puzzle is that each number has to be the sum of the 2 numbers below it. So our goal is to fill in the entire puzzle. I'm going to go ahead and do this one as an example for you. So I'm looking at 17, and I know that these 2 numbers, when added together, have to equal 17. In order for me to figure out what number added to 2 equals 17, I need to subtract. So I'm going to come up here and do 17 minus 2. I start in the ones place. 7 minus 2 is 5. 1 minus 0 is 1. So 15 is the number that goes in this first box. I can then come over and look at the 10, and I know that these 2 numbers have to equal 10. So what number plus 2 equals 10? Again, we can subtract to find the answer. So 10 minus 2, I'm going to do a little bit of regrouping. So I'm going to come over and borrow from my 10s. So 10 minus 2 is 8. So I know that 8 goes here. Now, I don't have enough information in these 2 boxes to complete this, so I'm going to go over to this side of the pyramid. Now, I can add together 17 and 10 to find the sum of this number. So 17 plus 10 equals 27. So I'm going to write that here. And now I have to figure out what number added to 27 equals 50. Again, I can subtract to find that answer. So 50 minus 27. Again, I'm going to have to regroup. So I'm going to borrow from the 10s place. I'm left with 4 10s. Carry that 10 over to the 1s place. 10 minus 7 is 3. And 4 minus 2 is 2. So I know that 23 goes here. Now I can come back and look at 10 and this unknown number. We have to figure out what number plus 10 equals 23. So we're going to subtract 23 minus 10, and this is easy subtraction, no regrouping necessary. So 3 minus 0 is 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. So 13 goes here. And then we can do the same thing for the last 2, or the last one. we need to figure out what number added to 8 equals 13. So we're going to subtract to find that as well. 13 minus 8. I'm going to borrow from my tens place. So 13 minus 8 equals 5. Got it? That was pretty fun, guys. Take a stab at it. It should be really fun. Now let's move on to our next activity of making change. So our directions say that they want you to make 47 cents using exactly 6 coins. So the first thing we need to know is the value of each coin. A quarter is worth 25 cents. A dime is worth 10 cents. A nickel is worth 5 cents. And a penny is worth 1 cent. So I want you all to just play with coins and figure out what collection of coins we need to use to make 47 cents. I'm gonna try it out. Let's see. I know I can use a quarter. Let's write my amount here. I know I can use a quarter, so I'll put that there. I'll use a dime. So I'm at 25, 35 cents. I'll use another dime. That'll bring me to 45 cents. And then I just need 2 pennies to get to 47 cents. Now I need to count my coins and see if I used exactly 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh man, I messed up. So I want you all to keep playing around with your coins until you can come up with the collection that equals 47 cents. Our next activity is a telling time activity. Before we look at that, I want to go over some features of a clock. So when we look at an analog clock, we're looking at the face of a clock, and we have to pay close attention to the hour hand, or the shorter hand, and the minute hand, or the longer hand. The hour hand tells us what hour it is, and that is represented by the numbers we see on the clock. The minute hand gets a little bit tricky. When we look at the minute hand, if it's on the 12, it's 00, or as we say, o'clock. From there, we have to count in 5-minute increments to represent each number. So if my minute hand is on the 3, it's actually 7:15. I also want to bring attention to these little notches in between each number. These are our 1-minute increments. So if we are at 7:01, the next notch, or I'm sorry, 7:05, the next notch is 7:06, 7:07, 7:08, 7:09, and then we get to 2, which is 7:10. So with that knowledge, I want you all to go ahead and complete the first part of the telling time activity, which asks you to fill in the bubbles next to the correct time. For the second part of that lesson, you are asked to draw the hands on the clock to represent the time that is shown. So remember that when our hour hand is in between 2 numbers, let's say our hour hand was in between the 7 and the 8. It's not 8 o'clock yet. We're still in the 7 o'clock hour. That hand getting closer to the 8 just lets me know that it's closer to 8 o'clock. So don't let that trip you up as you're working on this. That's all for day 2. We love you and we miss you, and we hope to see you again soon.
I think I need to call in sick.
Why? What's wrong?
My throat is sore, dizzy, runny nose.
It sounds like nasopharyngitis.
More than a dozen surprisingly specialized education models to choose from. Explore them all online. Yeah, that's IPS.
Look around. Listen. We're moving to a new beat. A colorful symphony, each note made more beautiful by the next. We are driven by talent in the classroom, in each school, that recognizes the potential in every student and knows the opportunity to achieve is not an option, it's expected. We are not alone. We stand among giants, eager to help, eager to give back and build bonds to last generations. We are part of a city fueled by grit, strength, and determination. Racing toward a future full of potential, where hard work really does pay off. When one succeeds, we all succeed. We're innovative, we're industrious, we're imaginative. We are your Indianapolis Public Schools, and we're stronger together.
Hi, I'm Alicia Johnson. We all know the importance of keeping students engaged in learning during this unprecedented time. In addition to receiving IPS home learning packets, it's crucial for students to see and hear from the teachers they know and love. Through our partnership with Circle City Broadcasting, IPS teachers in grades K through 8 cover everything from reading to math in weekly lessons on MyINDY-TV. Together, we are making education accessible for everyone. For the schedule, visit wishtv.com/IPS.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Good morning, boys and girls. I'm Miss Finley. I teach 3rd grade at George Buck, School 94. Today I'm going to be teaching from Week 2, Lessons 1 through 5. Week 2, Lessons 1 through 5. Alrighty, so if you look into your packet that was mailed home to you, I want you to notice that it starts off with a story problem. Now the story problem says, and I'm going to read it to you, show your thinking in words, numbers, or sketches for each one. Be sure to label your answer with correct units. So letter A says, Mr. B bought 3 jars of honey, which weighed a total of 24 ounces. If all the jars weighed the same amount, how much did each jar weigh? So right off the bat, you need to visualize. You need a picture. Sometimes when you see word problems, it seems like a lot, but it's not a lot. Just take a second and really picture in your mind 3 jars. Okay, so take a second and visualize that. I'm going to put these 3 jars that are in my mind, I'm going to put them up on the board for us. All right, so with these 3 jars, we're going to go back to what the story says. Go back to what the story says. It says that which weighed a total of 24 ounces. So combined, this is going to weigh 24 ounces. Let's go to letter A again. It talks about how much did each jar weigh. So mathematically, let's think about this. If I know my total is going to be 24, what is a reasonable number that we can think of to go in each jar? Now, I'm not going to tell you the answer. I want you to think about it. But what makes sense? What type of math would we use? We would not make it bigger by adding it. We wouldn't make it bigger by multiplying it, but we would make it smaller because we want to know how much is in each jar. So one of the things that we would think about is how much can I add to each one of these till I get to 24. That's one way to solve that problem. Let's go to letter B. Letter B says, Miss B also bought 24 ounces of honey. She put 3 ounces of honey into several small jars. I'm going to change this problem a little bit because now we're going to talk about Miss B. Miss B has several small jars. So again, we don't know how many jars Miss B used. So looking at B, she has 24 ounces of honey. We got to get a reasonable of answers here of how many jars. Well, she could use 1 jar, 2 jars, and in each jar that's 3, and that's 3. She can do another jar, and that's 3, and so on. Keep going until we get 24 ounces. Going down to letter C, Miss Moth picked 8 flowers. Each flower had 6 petals. Again, a different problem, but let's use our imagination. Let's picture in our head the flower. So here in our mind, we see that we have a flower, and the flower has 6 petals on it. So again, looking at the problem, Miss Moth picked 8 flowers. So I need 8 of these. and each flower had 6 petals. How many petals are on the flowers that Miss Moth picked? All right, so that's how we do that first part, day 1. Now, let's move on to the operations with telling time. I wrote this word reasonable on the board because reasonable is important, because what really makes sense in this math problem? In this one, we have that we're telling time, and it tells us only to use these numbers. This is one of the things we can do, make a list of the numbers. It says you're only using it 1 time each. Now, the thing I want us to notice that with these boxes, this is our minutes. I'm abbreviating it. This is letting us know here, I'm recreating the problem for us. I know here that this is a single-digit number. So that lets me know that when I try to figure this out, I can't use the number 11. I can't use the number 12 because it's a single-digit number. So for this problem, what I want, boys and girls, what I want you to do is just kind of play with it. Think about it for a minute. Just be reasonable about your answer. Try to put different number combinations in there until you're able to get to your answer. All right, let's go to the next one. I'm excited about this one. I actually had my daughter help me create this one. In our next problem, my board's getting messy, guys. In our next problem, we're talking about fractions. My daughter helped me. She helped me make this one. In your packet, you're going to see this. There's the 1 square. And if you notice this, let's take a second and talk about, what do you know about fractions? You know that fractions can be divided into, their fractions are a part of a whole. So looking at this is a whole number. This is a whole unit, a whole square. And if you notice looking at this whole square has been cut up into little pieces. That's all a fraction is. It's just part and pieces of a whole. So looking at this, as you can see here, if I go straight across here, if I take my yellow marker and I go straight across here, I've created a half. I wrote it in yellow on purpose so that you guys can kind of think about it. It's a half. What if I took my yellow marker and went straight up like this? How many parts do you see now in this square? You should probably see that's colored in. That made a fourth. If I color this in, that's a fourth. I color this in, that's a fourth. If I color this one in, that's a fourth. So then you could also take your marker and you can take your paper, on your paper, do this. Finish these lines out. What do you notice? If I keep going, I will have created a grid that I could count how many parts. So to answer the question for this one, how many, does this fit in here? Does it, yes or no? All right, let's go to our next question, guys. I'm not going to give you the answers. I really want you to take your time and really think about how to solve these problems. And it's okay to have family help you. Your teachers are there to help you also. You can call us and we're there to help you.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
In day 2, we have another word problem. And this one is picking strawberries. And what I love about these story problems is taking the moment, really thinking about what it's saying, visualize it, picture it. I took the time, I read this a couple of times, and I took the time out to visualize, and then I drew what problem day 2 says. It says David, Mary, Claire, and Mark were picking in their grandparents' garden. They had picked the same number of when their grandma gave everyone 2 more. Now the kids had 36 in all. How many, letter A says, how many strawberries did each child have before grandma gave them more? Show your work. Okay, so we know what we're talking about is strawberries. So if there's an unknown variable, there's a part of this equation that we don't know. There's a part of this equation we don't know. We know that the 4 kids equaled a total of 36 strawberries. Right? Now, let's add to this. We know that grandma gave them 2 extra strawberries. I'm not going to finish this equation now. I'm just going to set it up for you. So the part you don't know is here. How many did they start with? We don't know. We know that the 2 kids, and I'm going to put this sign here. This sign means to multiply. We know that if I multiply the 4 kids times this part right here, I'll put it in parentheses, that's another way of saying multiply, that I'm going to end with 36 strawberries. I'm just going to set it up for you, and I want you guys to think about how to get this number here. What makes sense? What is a reasonable way to get to that answer? All righty, picking up with unknown numbers. Let's go to the next problem here on day 2. On day 2, we see here we have the cute little puzzle here with the little animals on it. This is one of my favorite. And with this one, we don't know the value of these animals. So I'm going to help you set up this problem and how to think about it. With unknown numbers, when you don't know what the value of it is, it's kind of like that Sudoku game. Maybe your family plays Sudoku. So you look at looks like a water hog maybe. You look at that little creature right there, and you see that it is plus the tiger. I'm going to do a T for tiger. I'm going to make it a W for the water hog. This is my plus sign, and it's going to equal. Well, I know that it's going to equal the number 9. So what number plus this is going to get me 9? Then let's go down to the next row. The next row, they told us this 9 represent the lion. I'm going to put an L there. It's an L for the lion. So then now, the L for the lion is plus the bird, which is, I don't know. I don't know what the bird is, so I'm going to put a B, but it's going to equal 14. So again, talking about unknown numbers. 9. Oh, wait a minute. Then they said this is going to equal a 10. 9 plus what? I got it. 9 plus 1 equals 10. Something plus equals 9. That makes the tiger worth 8. So that's how we set these types of problems up. So if I know that 1 plus 9 equals 10, 1 plus 8 equals 9, then to finish up this problem, I don't know what the, They did tell me that this is going to equal 13. Well, if I already know that this is an 8 now for my tiger, I know this is an 8. 8 plus what number is going to get me to 13? I could go 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That could be my answer. Let's try it. All right, thank you guys. We're going to go on to the next math problem on the page. Remember, I'm not going to give you the answers. I want you to try and think on your own. And remember, what could be a reasonable answer? What would make sense there? All right, magic pyramid. Woohoo! Let's do this one on the board. A magic pyramid. La-da-ta, la-da-ta. We're going to put a magic pyramid on the board. All righty, I hope you guys can see my board okay. Here we go. All right, so with our magic pyramid, we've got a triangle. Let's play with some numbers. Let's try to figure this one out. So it tells us it says for the pyramid, place the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the circles shown below. Only one number can be placed in each circle, and all numbers must be used. When the final arrangement is complete, the sum of the three numbers on each side must all be the same. And I'll be honest with you, Miss Finley played with this one quite a bit to figure it out. Let's see. So if I make this one a 3, and I make this one the 2, I make this one the 4, I'll make that one the 5, I'll make this one the 6, and I'll make this one the 1. I'm just going to try it out and see what I get. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, okay? Then going this way, I've got 3, 4, 6, 10. Here we go. Hot dog. I'm on to something. I got a 10 and a 10. Here we go. Here, 5, 4, 9. Uh-oh. Didn't work. That doesn't equal 10 if I go this direction. Let's try something else. So again, with this problem, you're just going to keep trying it until we figure it out. Let's try another way. Let's try another way. Let's try 3. Let's try a 2. Let's try a 4. Let's put the 5, a 1, a 6. Let's see what we get. 3 and 2 is 5, plus 5 more makes 10. 5, 6, and 6. That's 12. Uh-oh. That doesn't work. 7, doesn't work that way either. So you got to just keep trying until we find a combination that works. But I will tell you this, your ending answer number should be wait for it, you got to find the number 12. Work on that one on your own, guys.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Day 3. Good morning. Are you ready? Come on, you can do this with us. Again, we're talking about unknown numbers. With this problem here, you see here that we've got some of the math problems filled in, but not all of them. With this one, I'm going to erase my board again, guys. With this one, we don't know what this number is. What do we already know? We know that in the ones place we have an 8. We know in this tens place there's a 6, but we don't know what we have in the ones place here. We do know that we're adding. So think about what you already know, okay? Now coming down here, we know that the answer should have a 3 in the ones place, a 0 in the tens place, but we don't know what's in our hundreds place. What number can get us to a 3, but they can also get us a 0 here? So we have an 8. Let's see, there's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So if I erase this unknown and make it a 5, I have a 3. I'm going to carry my 1. I have an unknown. I do know it's a 6, and I do know it's going to end with a 0 in the this place value. So 6 plus a number should get me a 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 4. A 4 will go here, but I forgot, I got to add my 1. So if I put a 6, 7, 8, 9, if I put that here, how many fingers did I hold up? A 3. 3, carry my 1. I'm going to stop there, and you guys finish the rest of those problems up on your own. Good job, guys. All righty. We're going to move on to our next problem. You can do this. Hang with me. Baking cookies. I love baking cookies, but I love eating cookies more than baking them. So in this one, it says Daniel was making chocolate chip cookies. He had cookies in each row, and it doesn't tell us how many rows. There were a total of 84 cookies. How many cookies were there in each row, and how many rows of cookies were there? Draw a model to support your answer. Is there more than one possible answer? So for those of you who remember, back when we were in school, in the classroom, we talked about arrays, array models. Let's use an array model to solve this one. I don't know how many rows. All I know is that he's got 84 cookies total. And in my mind, I'm going to just start off with a number that's easier for me to kind of work with, okay? So with this, you can start off with the 84. I'm going to start off with the number 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 to represent my cookies. I'm going to do another row. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another row. And I'm going to keep on going until I get to 84. Another row. Well, I don't know about you guys, but this 4 is going to take me a long time. It's going to take a long time to get to 84 using these factors of just a 4. So think of another number you can use, adding more X's on to get to 84 cookies, okay? And again, these are, and keep your rows nice and straight so that afterwards you can calculate to see what your answer should be. All right, guys. All right, let's jump down to 2 positive numbers. I'm thinking of 2 positive whole numbers that multiply to 1,000, neither of which contain the digit 0. What is the sum of these 2 numbers? All right, so changing this problem here. I don't think I want to work with 1,000 because I feel like if I do that, I'll just kind of give you the answer, and I don't want to give you the answer. So instead, I'm going to work with 100. Okay, so what 2 numbers can I use if I multiply them, and I'm going to get to 100? But they can't have a 0 in them. So I can use, if I take 25, like 25 cents is a quarter, how many quarters does it make to make $1? So if I took 25, 25, 25, I would get 100, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I did 4 times 25 to equal 100. And the problem is telling us that the sum of these 2 numbers means to add these 2 numbers also. So 25 plus 4 is going to give me 29. All right? There we go. You guys work on that problem also on your own. I'm pretty sure you can do it. And ask your family to help you. Or call your teacher. We're here to help also. All right, let's go to our next one. This one is telling time. I want to give you a real quick, handy-dandy little thing here. I, at home, made my own analog clock. And what I used was some things that I had at home. I had 2 bobby pins, and I used paper plates you can get from the Dollar Tree. Or if your family has them, paper clips. And I took my little clock here. Oops. Of course, I would drop that part. Excuse me, guys. And I made a little analog clock. So there it is. You can do this at home. So family, what I suggest we do, take your digital clock or their watch or your phone, look at what time it is, and have them practice telling time with this. Just moving it around and telling you what time it is to the minute, okay? All right.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Visual patterns for day 4. Visual patterns. Day 4, visual patterns. This one looks like a lot of fun. So it looks like we have, at the top of page 4, we did the clock. The next problem says that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and under the third one we have a square there. You're just going to continue on with the pattern. So with the next one you saw that it had 2, and the next one it had 3. Just continue on with the pattern for that one. Going down to the bottom, it says noticing. On a piece of paper, make 2 columns. In one column, list the things that are the same in this picture. In the other column, list the things that are different. You can do it on your workbook paper that you have there, or you can also do this one on a scrap sheet of paper. Same, different. What are we noticing? Well, I noticed with the blue, or on the left-hand side, it looks like they have a square and a square and a square, and they've made for us a triangle there in the middle. So I noticed that there was a triangle on that one. What else are you noticing? What are you noticing? What's the same and what's different? I feel like what's same for this is that on both sides, there are some triangles. Both sides are using squares. And just kind of keep going with it. Don't feel stressed out or don't feel like you're looking for the right answer. Mathematically, there's just so many things you can see there. I see a person in one of the sides. That's just what I visually picture and see. But you're your own person. Find the answer for yourself. Just notice what's the same and what's different.
This is MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23. Here's what's coming up next.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Paris Campbell here, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. And today we're going to be reading Good Night Football. It's the end of the week. It's the best of all sights. Beneath the night sky lies a field of bright lights. And the bleachers are full for a very good reason. The big game is tonight. It's football season. The big band plays and the cheerleaders shout, and everyone cheers as the team runs out. The fans are excited. It's time for some fun. Then a whistle, the kickoff, the game has begun. On 3rd and 1, the ball is snapped, but the defense breaks through and the quarterback is sacked. He shakes it off and gets up. The crowd yells, hooray. Then the team huddles up and discusses a play. The quarterback drops back and lets the ball go. It sails through the air. Oh, wow, what a throw. A receiver breaks loose and stands all alone. Reaches up, grabs the ball. He's in the end zone. The teams trade possessions. Up and down rolls to score. Then a long run wins the game. Hear the crowd roar. What a game. What a night. Good night, players. You fought a good fight. Good night, coaches, as they shake hands. Good night, cheerleaders. Good night, band. Good night, bleachers. Good night, fans. Good night, field and concession stands. Good night, mascot. We'll come back soon. Good night, goalpost. Good night, moon. Good night, helmet, and my favorite teams. Good night, football. Good night, and sweet dreams. End. Once again, this is Paris Campbell with the Indianapolis Colts. Hope you guys are safe, staying healthy. Go Colts.
You've been watching MyIPS on MyINDY-TV 23, a free educational service provided by Circle City Broadcasting of Indianapolis. MyIPS airs weekday mornings from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. For more information, special announcements, and the weekly program schedule, go to wishtv.com. You can also follow us on Facebook.